Hello and welcome to Profiles in Risk. This is your host, Tony Cañas. And today, I won't even try to guess which episode number this is because I never get it right. But today I have with me Gloria Guntinas Vanzo, co-founder of Pouch. Gloria, thank you for joining me today. Very, very excited to have you here. Normally, just so the listeners know, normally I do like a 10-minute, because Gloria and I connected yesterday. We had never chatted before. And I said, hey, let's come on the podcast. Normally we do a 10-minute pre-recording, like just planning for the podcast. This time we went for 25 minutes and we had to stop ourselves because it was a really good conversation. So Gloria, thank you for joining me today. I'll give you the opportunity I give everybody at the beginning. What is Pouch? What's the elevator pitch for Pouch?
Yeah, for sure. So thank you so much for having me. It's really a pleasure. I think it's nice that we finally connected. I think we've always been oscillating as Hispanics in the community of insurance, are sort of a small group. So we kind of get to know each other pretty quickly. But let's talk a little bit about Pouch, right? So Pouch is connected insurance. It is focused on small business auto. And our aspirations are threefold. The first part is that we wanted to bring the technology of vehicle tracking forward to provide benefits to the small business owner. So when you get a Pouch policy, you do get access to great products from companies like Mohio that provide you with free tracking software among all the other benefits of the product force available to you for free, which we've heard from business owners have been a really great savings and value to them, knowing where their employees are at, knowing where the vehicles are at. The second piece for us was to modernize the commercial auto space. We saw an opportunity for the products to get more efficient as we had done in personal lines for over 10 years, a decade. We built a new products much easier to quote and sell a policy in Pouch, is about 3 minutes. And we use a lot of embedded scoring to accomplish this. Obviously, telematics data is a big part of what we do. But we also have other methods to make the quoting simpler and more efficient. We are about to release our second wave, which is called 2.0. It's about a week out. And that's actually going to make it a 2-minute sale in a 90-second quote. So we're very excited about kind of continuing to accelerate the technology piece. The third part of this is really bringing technology forward to move towards what we call forward rating. So one of the big aspirations for Pouch is that we want to be an insurer of protect and save. And so in order to do that, we have to use data in real time to enable the user to make better decisions. And so one of the distinctive for us is to be able to ingest the data in real time, which we've done before as part of our core business knowledge. But now we want to do it to rate on a forward basis. My friends, the actuaries, get really nervous about that, right? But we use the historical data to make forward decisions, instead of using the historical data to generate pricing. And so for us, this is actually moving telematics forward. Steve and I have been doing telematics now for over 15 years. And, we were part of Progressive when it was Migrate, it became Snapshot. We did things when we were at Drive Factor, now a CCC company. And so we think this is the next frontier to move telematics forward. We do have great rates. We do have a very sophisticated portal, both for agents and for consumers. Both were launched at the same time. And we actually built the organization between January and May 11th. So we actually launched the company in 5 months. So speed to market is kind of the thing we do, and we do it really well. We are doing our second state in 60 days. The next one is going to come in 6 weeks. And we do it in a very cost-effective, nimble way.
Second state in 60 days, so
we're in Illinois, we're going to Arizona, and then after that, we're going to Georgia and Texas.
Okay. So when did the company start?
We actually, believe it or not, today was the day that we signed our term sheet. So a year ago.
It's like, so for the listeners, we are recording on September 15th.
Yeah, so September 15th of 2021.
Which is a particularly interesting date. Well, historical date for you guys, but also interesting date for both of us, I believe for both of us. So today is Latin American Independence Day.
Yes.
I don't know if for every Latin American country, but definitely for Costa Rica, definitely for Mexico. Is it for Venezuela?
No, Venezuela is 5th of July because we were part of the Gran Colombia.
Oh, okay.
So Simón Bolívar, who is Venezuelan, actually was part of the Gran Colombia, and Venezuela was 5th of July, actually not to America being 4th of July.
Interesting. And same year?
No. About many years later.
Oh, okay.
It was because Simón Bolívar had a relationship with George Washington and actually emulated him. So it was 5th of July and not to America.
Oh, that is very interesting. Okay, yeah, I had no idea. For Costa Rica, where I'm from, it's today is the 200-year anniversary of our independence, and for a good portion of Latin America. So I was going to say Happy Independence Day, but I guess Venezuela is a little different. So thank you for educating me on that. As most Latin Americans, I went to the American school myself, but I got a great education on Costa Rican history and U.S. history and European history, and I don't think the word South America was ever mentioned.
No, so one of the benefits we got out of being part of the 5 of the Gran Colombia was the Latin American history was embedded into Venezuela, Colombia, and the surrounding countries as a result of the unification. And so we did have an opportunity to study that, but you're right, we do tend to lean over, obviously, on the world wars and the foundation of the old continent, a little bit on Panama Canal, and of course, the United States presence in the Western wars as a result. So you're absolutely right. My education didn't look much different than
so we're clearly both history nerds, so we can get distracted on this one too. So let's go back to insurance. So you've had a successful exit already with Drive Factor. So this is your second go at launching your own company, and that exit 2011 to 2014, that was before InsurTech was even a thing.
I disagree. I like to think that was the first wave. There were actually many companies that were part of that first wave.
It's a fair argument, yeah.
Yeah, and I think lots of people but back then we were really focused on technology enablement and perhaps not on carrier foundation.
Okay.
And so I think the second wave came when the opportunity came to do the MGA 2.0 model.
Okay.
And so a lot of people started, and I think that's, and then I think we're on the third wave, which is personalized moderation, and then commercial lines enhancements.
Okay, that is fair. So the first wave, was it venture capital backed?
Yeah, so we were in a mutual situation. So we, in particular, Drive Factor had seed money from an insurance company at the time from outside the US entering the US. And then when we went for the additional capital, we actually found venture capital. And that's where, because we were a B2B provider of technology. So Mac, the CTO, which you might know him, Mac Fraser, he's also part of ITC. Mac did a phenomenal job of building an ingestion platform on the Amazon cloud. And at the time, that was incredibly forward technology, and actually still is in all these years. And so Drive Factor was largely seen as a technology enablement organization, very much like you would think of a Cambridge Telematics, or you would think of any of the telematics providers that have come since.
Okay. So Pouch. When I first, what I do to prepare for the podcast, like 10 minutes, like I invite you, right? And then I'm like, you're running on InsurTech, I want to chat with you. And then I give you the chance to schedule it yourself, and you scheduled very quickly. I
had a window. I never have a window.
Perfect. And so like 15 minutes before you log in, I actually look at the website and go get an idea of what you're doing, right? So as I looked at it, my first thought was, root for commercial lines. But then I dug a little.
I think that's a fair comparison. Right. I think so. A couple of things that are different. We don't send our own hardware. We partner with companies to do hardware for small business, because that's the beautiful thing about small business. There's companies who already make and distribute these products. And so for us, was just really connecting to these vendors, Geotab, Mohio, that already have the data, the various data exchange, for example, and other things. So I think that's a big factor to the differences in commercial. There's also a large penetration. There's almost 4 million connected vehicles in light local. And so there's already data flowing in particular. And then the third horizon, which is what gets me excited, things like Ford Connect, where it's like people actually pay Ford for $13 a month. And we're willing to make deals with those companies to say, look, we're paid for the service. We'll just have access to the data. Again, we're going to use it for rating quality. That is not a misnomer, but we also want to be using it for forward looking. If there's been changes in the drivers, that's important, that's valuable. If people are driving better in the book, the business owner should see the benefit of that. If there's seasonal driving, they should see the benefit of that, right? Because they're doing it, especially for landscapers in particular business classes. So we're very focused on the rating, but on a forward basis versus looking historically and saying, this is who you've been, this is what you should pay. I think there's an evolution in commercial that also the rating permissibility and the type of book in commercial is different than personal loans.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
So the distribution, both agency and
Four
direct.
ways. We do four ways. Actually, it's four ways. We do direct, direct to consumer, pouchinsurance.com. We distribute through agents. We distribute through existing partnerships and existing customers who are already connected. They get offers. We say, hey, would you like to save? And then the data is shared. And then there's other embedded opportunities that are coming soon.
Okay. So is the pricing the same regardless of channel? Or
it tends to be. So the acquisition right now is pretty flat because we want to make it very even. And if anything, we're learning that our agents are much more efficient in the commercial auto space. So we're actually finding that business owners and B2B are very busy people. And so finding them direct, it's much better to do through their existing partnerships. So channel 3 and 4 that we talked about. And so we find that the agents are doing a fantastic job and they really like the product and the ease of use. And we've enabled some things that at the time seemed really simple, but really made a lot of sense. So when you're done quoting, it's 4 pages, actually 3. So when you're done quoting, you get an opportunity to send the document digitally. And at that point, the consumer gets an email, the business owner, they complete the paperwork and pay the credit card and it's done. So we decouple the transaction. If the agent wants to handle it, they can do it. But if they want to do it to where they hand it to the consumer and the consumer finishes, they really love that. They love that because they don't want to have to take a credit card over the phone. Is the number right? What's the zip code? I forgot this. So we've enabled some technology flows that they really love. And so we find that the agents are super happy and they really like what we've done.
Okay. So about half of our listeners, and we to be honest, we don't have good stats, but the last time we did a survey about 3 years ago, maybe 4 now, about half of our listeners are carrier side, about half are brokers and agents. So for all those brokers and agents that are listening, what does the process look like to be able to offer Pouch?
Pouch, yeah. So footprint matters, right? So we're in Illinois, coming up to Arizona very soon. And we just have a really simple appointment process. You go to our website, it's agent.pouchinsurance.com. And you click on appointment, you fill out one form. Within 24 hours, we send you the paperwork and you're appointed. You get issued immediate access. You can have as many seats as you like, and you can have as many offices we like. So something that our platform does really well, which we're really happy about, is that you can have a master agent with offices and salespeople in either. So you have one main office, 3 sigil offices, and they all have salespeople. And all the documents and all the paperwork print accordingly. So for example, we have a partnership with Argentero. Argentero has some agents. Normally that's hard for small carriers to do, but we've been fortunate. It's been just a given. So if you are a sub agent of Argentero, and let me see, I think there's one called the Art of Insurance. It's one of our agents. Their paperwork prints Art of Insurance and they own that relationship. That's really important to us because we want to give agent for the credit for owning that relationship.
Is there a contractual or even just an expectation of a certain amount of flow, or are you okay?
No, listen, we're InsurTech. Let's not pretend. We're taking all the volume that we can. No, I'm terrible at the pretending thing, like, oh, we're doing so great. No, we're doing great, but we'll take any volume. We have
okay, so if I have 3 commercial auto policies, like,
Three policies a month or a week, we'll take it. Part of
Okay.
what we want to do is access. So our parent company, when Steve and I started, our parent company's name is actually Any Connected. And that is really what we are. We're Any Connected, both in technology and with people. And we'll connect anywhere. Pouch is how we go to market, and it's fun. I mean, come on, look at the koala; she's cute.
That was part of when I looked at the website today. I like the color, and I like the koala. He's or she is cute.
Her name is Goody. She's the chief safety officer.
Yeah,
she's very cute, and actually, she just got new swag, so you can see she just got T-shirts, and I'll send you. Like, she's got swag now. In our new release, we're actually, there's a few announcements I'll make, so I'll start with this one. So we're partnering with Coterie to do a joint quote
with Coterie out of Ohio. Okay, perfect.
Yeah. And so we're going to have a combined commercial auto Bob GL quote, which is really important in the package.
Fantastic.
It's seamless, and Goody has 10 outfits that she's, getting ready to go out with for each of the business classes, because it's very business class focused. So we are highlighting, doing something that both the team at Coterie and us are very passionate about, which is crafting the coverage to the business class. And so we are effectively advising and providing the knowledge based upon, are you a carpenter? Are you an electrician? Are you this? And then we're crafting the coverage accordingly. So we're very excited about it. And that comes out as part of our 2.0 release B. Our first release is just going to be our brand new quote, which gets us from 3 minutes to 2 minutes. And then for full bind, and then comes in the partner quote, which will add maybe another 40 seconds, maybe a little bit more.
So the second wave of insurtechs, I normally say the first wave, but going by your definition, which makes sense, second wave of insurtechs, there was a lot of talk about quickly, right? Like a super quick quote, right? Quick is good, but coverage is king.
That's right. You have to have comprehensive policies that effectively protect.
Tell me about the policy. Is it an ISO policy and then
no? We have our own custom policy.
You are a Verisk alum.
It's okay. That's okay. No,
so it's not an ISO policy.
No, because Steve and I grew up at Progressive.
And I'm guessing Progressive has their own homemade. Okay.
They have their own homemade policy. The guys at Esurance have a really strong policy too. The guys at Geico now have a strong policy. And so what we did is we did a thoughtful analysis in a partnership with our vendor. And in Illinois, because we're part of our strategic investment from our funder, we used an existing policy form that was pretty good. It was part of a Stonegate Insurance, which is our fronting paper. For Arizona, we actually filed our new forms. Okay. And the key to that is coverage, availability, and access. So we have over 13,000 vehicles in our VIN, which we think it's really important. We have lots of opportunity for limits and variability on what you want to do by vehicle by limits. Again, very important. You may have 2 new vehicles and a beater. You have different needs. And then also we want to make sure that we have encompassing coverage as the evolving needs. Obviously, we're commercial connected. We may have partnerships and do other things in last mile driven. And so we want to make sure that we can do things like that.
Okay. So it's not a Me Too filing to Progressive commercial.
No, it's not, but it gets close to some good activity on those companies that I highlighted.
Interesting.
And I think, obviously as InsurTech, you do what you can. I mean, we're very cash strap and bootstrap. I don't want to sound like we had an amazing staff, but I can't underscore enough some of the decisions we were able to make in our foundation, meaning our strategic investment with PNC ILS, affords us to have excellent staff who is insurance. Steve and I both come from a product management background. I used to run a product department at First Acceptance. So we had existing relationships with the vendors who have also been critical to our success. No InsurTech stands on their first year without a whole bunch of vendors. And so I can't emphasize that enough. And so we've been very lucky that our strategic advantage from a cost perspective, because you also have to remember our fronting and our reinsurance, it's combined through our structure. And so we don't have a lot of cash flow from that. We don't have negative inflow from that. It allows us to have a more effective budget.
Okay. So for now, are you, I think I know the answer based on having fronting and having re, but for now, are you technically an MGA or okay, so
yeah, and then we have, in the near term, we really have no interest in expanding that relationship for the first 24 months of our inception. And I think because the focus is in those three things I talked to you about, right? Bringing value to the market, making sure that we have efficient service and quoting and easy to use. And you talked about fast. I don't want fast for the sake of fast. Like, I built a product at Veris called Lightspeed that literally brings you all the data so you can sell a policy in 90 seconds in personal lines. And that's what Mltply is now doing. You also have to have thoughtful coverage conversations that are digitally enabled. And that's what I'm excited about. So part of what we do at Pouch, like, our name is to protect you, like we give you a pouch. And so that protection conversation for us happens not only through data, using the telematics information to bring forward the things that are important to you, but also through coverage. Here's the things that you do, and here's what you should be covered for. And that's why we're so business class focused, because what a carpenter who's a finishing carpenter needs is very different than what a commercial electrician who does installations for Panera may need. Mm. And so we're very keen on making sure that we understand those differences.
The word coverage comes up not nearly enough in the InsurTech.
I totally agree. That's why, like, right? For me as an InsurTech, like, I see it different. Totally agree.
I've done, I don't know, 100 interviews. Like in profiles, we've had 200 and some interviews with InsurTech, and I think Hippo talked about coverage.
Next is doing a really nice job.
Vouch probably did. We haven't had Next. I'd love to have Next. I had coffee with somebody at Next today. But yeah, I'd love to have Next. I do like
they're doing a phenomenal job. The guys at Coterie are doing a phenomenal job. The guys at Thimble are doing a phenomenal job.
I like Thimble. Mm-hmm.
And so listen, these boys, they're all boys, but these boys are just so great to partner with. And I can't say it enough. I mean, we don't have a partnership with Next. I don't want to fake that. I mean, I would love to. Hey, call us. But you know, with the guys at Coterie and Thimble, I mean, those boys are family, I swear. And they've just been so great. And I can't praise them enough, not only because they're moving our industry forward, and I'm a fan of what they're doing, but how they help us operate to make the industry better. When I come to those boys with things, I say, hey guys, like, I want to do this. They're like, let's go. And so I think that's really meaningful as well. This is why I call it the third wave. The first wave, if I would have called anybody to be like, and now it's like, hey, how do we do this? And it's a whole nother breed of entrepreneur. And I'm really proud to be part of that group.
Are you guys still like currently, are you bootstrapped? Are you seed funded, or are you
We're still seed funded. We're still on our original money, and we'll continue to be through that for a long while, actually.
Okay, but it's not bootstrapped like you did bring outside money seed, not.
Yeah, we bring outside seed. Our initial capital funding was sufficient, and it included not only capital, but also those resources I talked about. So we have a lot of inherent cost savings associated with fronting capital as it comes to reinsurance and fronting paper.
Okay.
And so that afforded us lots of breathing room.
Okay. So one state thus far. Are we talking 50 states in 24 months or?
I don't know that that's her path. And hear me out on that one. So let me tell you, so this is the second big announcement. So when we did Pouch, I had, as you can tell from my career, I've had such an unusual path where, like, I do insurance and I go to the vendor, and I do insurance and I go to the vendor. And the reason being is because I get frustrated because something isn't there. I swear.
So you go and build it.
Yeah, I literally do. And so I go back and I build it, I go back to insurance and say, look, now we can do this. And I go back.
So let me pause you real there, right there for a second. There is, I don't know if it's a myth or if it's just a meme or whatever, but there's a story out there in the tech world of somebody who goes through all of the interviews to go into a tech company, gets hired on day one, goes and correct a bug that has been bugging them as a
And they
user.
quit. And they quit.
And then they quit. They're like, that's all I wanted to do. Right. So that's exactly what it sounds like, except that it's not a one-day process.
It took me a year and a half in some jobs, but I did it. And particularly, with Verisk, I wasn't getting the data feeds that I needed with the accuracy that I needed. So we built Lightspeed. And then when I went into the collision repair sector, there wasn't workflows. The collision repair sector and the claim sector was very fractured. And so that's what we did at Solera. But going back to kind of what you were asking me originally is, for us at Pouch, we needed to have replicable process. That's not something you hear from a lot of startups.
I haven't heard that in any interview.
And so one of the things that I really wanted to do, which was, as a founder, you just want to see what's my distinctive, right? So after having run a software group, which really changed the way you think about things, which is what I did, I came back into this job and I said, okay, let's make this replicable. So let me tell you what that means. So we, like I said, today was the day that we got our term sheet. And from term to funding, it took us 60 days, which is phenomenally fast. And from funding to technical decision and project kickoff was 41 days. And so we kicked off Pouch as an entity to start the technical build on January 4th of this year. And we deliver our first prototype in March, and we deliver our first go-to-market on May 11th. So everything I just described to you that we built that exists today happened in that window.
And you didn't go through Boost either.
No. We built everything from the ground up.
From the ground up.
Yeah. So we selected a technology partner in Instanda. So we did buy Instanda. We partner with them for some of the feature delivery. And then from there on out, it was us and us and us. So
this could physically not have been done by people who did not already know insurance in and out.
Oh, no, absolutely not. No, because you got to remember, we had work streams. There was a file the product, get the product ready, get the rock done. Then there was a technology workflow. There was an experience workflow. And then there was go. And so when I did that, I literally built an ecosystem. So I can open my Jira and you can see, I built this thing that was in order and everything had to come at the right time. And it was all sequenced because if I missed something, then the other group would get behind and that's money. And so when I did that, I said, oh, wouldn't it be nice if somebody made this available for me at Pouch? Meaning I have a great idea and somebody can come do it. And so I went to our investors and they said, sure, go do it. So I'm opening Mltply. So Mltply is an accelerator.
Okay.
And Mltply is going to do three things. It's going to bring know-how, it's going to bring capital, and it's going to bring everything else. So you brought up Boost, and this is how we're different. We're actually going to invest in the company and get them out to market in 6 months. And we're going to basically build other versions of Pouch on behalf of the entrepreneurs. So we're already talking to 2 separate entrepreneurs in 2 particular fields, which I'm not ready to release yet, but as soon as it happens, I'll let you know.
So outside of insurance?
No, all in insurance.
All within insurance. Okay, so Mltply is going to be an accelerator, basically.
Yep.
Or yeah, some version of accelerator.
It's an accelerator, but we deliver product to market. So you get tech stack, you get paper, you get reinsurance, you get capital, and you get know-how. So you get all of my staff to build Pouch becomes available to you.
Okay, so you're gonna compete head on with Boost, basically.
Well, I think it's
in
a
a
little
different
bit
way.
different. It was interesting because I think it's different. What Alex has done is phenomenal for handing the keys over. But I think what we're trying to do, talking to the one founder that I'm talking to right now, who's interested in engaging, is we're actually building with, and then we're handing over.
Okay, so it's also not the Global Insurance Accelerator or even broker tech where they're just kind of investing and helping. You're actually
we're building. There's a project plan and there's technology resources and an engineering team, and we built the thing. And so obviously our first strategic investment is closely related to what we already know. And so we're going to build the site, build the connections, build the pipelines, put it out, build a rating algorithm. For example, this particular team I'm talking about, they already have their own actuaries. So they come with the product. So we don't have to do that. But if somebody comes in with an expertise, I don't know, event insurance, and they really have a great relationship, I don't know, with the knot, and they want to do event insurance for weddings, and they know that piece really well, we'll bring in everything else and put it forward. Our ability to do that, which is kind of crazy. Like, look, Laura, you're doing technical consulting, right? Like, you're crazy. And I'm like, no, we're investing in entrepreneurs and talent and giving them the ability to scale faster. I don't think that's crazy. I think that's what we all needed. Every single person I've talked to who's in my shoes said, yes, I would have loved to have that.
Yeah, no kidding. So when does Mltply go live?
Mltply officially goes live by InsurTech Connect, and that's when the website will be up.
Oh, okay, and what would the website be?
It's going to be mltply.io.
No,
and it's not spelled.
Yes, the spelling.
So it's MLTPLY.
Okay,
so without
take the vowels out.
Yeah, I took the vowels out.
Okay, perfect. So Mltply. So you weren't busy enough building building this InsurTech, but wow. Okay, this is going to be a lot of fun. I'm guessing you're going to be at ITC.
Yes. So the intention is for me to be speaking about the details of using the Instanda platform to enable this. And we've talked a lot about what the team has built, but we really haven't talked about the enablement piece.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
So we have open platform from Instanda that allows me to do really sophisticated rating and efficient delivery. Like I said, it takes us 6 weeks to get a new state out. That's really valuable. We also have an open platform for telematics. We chug the data, it brings me back a score. Cannot underestimate how complex that is and how quickly we did it. We also have a standalone billing system that allows to operate not only for the consumer to have a friendly engagement model, but also allows you to do other things outside insurance, like if you needed to charge drivers mileage because they're using your vehicles for personal use, we have that. And then last but not least, we also have a very strong self-service platform. So if you want to pay your bill or if you want to make changes to your policy, we enable that out of the gate. And so for us, it was really important to be open and connected again and to be efficient, but none of this could have happened without having this technology leadership behind it. And so Instanda gets a huge amount of credit for the enablement that they've been in the platform enabling us. And then our technical teams get all the credit for taking that architecture into reality.
Okay. And by the way, Mltply, you heard it here first on Profiles in Risk.
Absolutely. You're the first, like, other than founders who have been hounding for questions, who get woken up at 4:30 in the morning with a text, hey, dude, I've been thinking about doing this. Other than them, it's you.
So you heard it here first on Profiles in Risk. Eat your heart out, coverage. And I'm joking. They think of us as competitors. Yeah, I don't think of them as competitors. No,
I know. And obviously, there would be a formal sort of exercise with that release. And to your point, there's some natural comparisons that happen. I was talking to the actuarial team for one of the potential partners, and they said, well, that's like Boost. And then I didn't even have to open my mouth. The founder of the other company said, no. Let me walk you through it. And I'm taking notes because I see myself more as just, I'm enabling a playground for you to do what you do.
I love it. It's basically the exact same thing I did with Insurance Nerds, where the idea was enabling a place where new people to insurance could find advice that they weren't getting in their day jobs, and where people who had been in insurance for a bit could publish their stories and what interesting stuff regardless of job title, right? Regardless of, right, I don't need you to be in the executive group at USAA to, if you have something interesting to say, I want to publish it, right? So we never really worried about monetizing, but yeah, the idea was enabling, exactly. So I very much connect with the mission.
No, and it's a really exciting thing, because having a playground where, I mean, we're bold. We're going to do 4 companies a year, 1 per quarter. and we don't care.
I'm getting nervous just thinking.
No, and this is the thing, like, when we get offline and we have time, I'll walk you through like the project plan and the scenario, and like we have standard forms from the lawyers, and we have the guys at Goodwin actually literally building standard forms so people know exactly what they're getting. And we believe founders actually come out better than when they fundraise through VC, because they're getting more equity earlier, and they're getting a bigger chance of success.
Okay,
And
so hold on. Okay, so generally, and I've never been through an accelerator, but my understanding of the accelerator model is we invest in you, we give you contacts, we give you some guidance, we open some doors for you, and we take a percentage of the company, right? It's a venture play ultimately.
Yeah. And we're a venture play as well.
Okay.
So we do two calculations. We do the cost to build and deliver, and we do the cost to fund the remaining of the executive leadership. So let's use the scenario for Pouch. I think that's a great one, right? So you say, hypothetically, Pouch had a burn rate of 10,000 a month, whatever that is, right? And then the executive team plus the technology team was 4 people at X amount per month. And so you take that budget plus the build, and then we say the build is actually equity. We're not going to make you pay for that. We want equity in your organization because that's how we see the success. And then we give you money to pay the bills. And so we do both. And I think that's also important because you're not having to buy a new technology system. And now these are standalone units, by the way. So it's not like everybody's using the same. No, these are individual setups that they're getting through Instanda. But they have all their data, they own their system. And when they get bigger and they eat us up, which this Mltply should not exist for more than 3 years. Because all the success of these organizations are going to make us bigger and they're going to eat us up, and then we're going to be done. Because it's going to be so exciting, because there will be many doubles and home runs inside the ecosystem. And when they go get big, whether Pouch gets fantastically big and I go, or whatever happens, Mltply's existence should only be enabling companies within the seed round. And beyond that, when they go to their next round, they now have their own teams. Now, what's going to happen is some people may want to go with a new company. And so I have to be thoughtful about what we allow. But my goal is to make sure that we create an enabling mechanism for people to then grow and go.
I'm kind of speechless. And I've done a lot of these interviews.
But listen, part of this, so let me tell you the story where Mltply came from. I heard a story about a pastor, an African-American pastor in Georgia, who used to tell this to marriage counseling advice to couples who were newly married and struggling. He used to say that women are multipliers. Women are multipliers because you give them a bag of groceries and they give you a meal.
And they give you, okay, a meal. Mm-hmm.
You give them genetic material and they give you a baby. But then at the end of him showing the many ways in which women multiply, he said, but you give them bad behavior and acting out, and they're going to give you the same, but multiplied. And so I think there's something unique about being a female leader in current times. I used to be nicknamed for all of my technology teams the mother hen. Always. She was taking care of us. She's doing this, like she's doing that, like, you know, and I still get wedding invitations, baby announcements, promotions. I get everything. And so I think for me, it's always been about adding. And if I am going to create a place where I would have wanted to create Pouch in, I'm going to create it in a way that is real for me, having lived through Pouch, the good, the bad, and the indifferent. And so I think for me, this is about creating a space to multiply and uniquely suited for anybody who says, I have a great idea, I have know-how, you have technology, and we'll meet somewhere in the middle. Remember, a project has 4 pieces: scope, cost, and time. And then 9 women don't have a baby faster.
9 women don't have a baby faster, absolutely.
And so those 4 things are critical to success. And I built a model that makes that really viable. So I want to invest in great ideas, great leaders. Like the 2 people I'm talking to right now, love them so much. Talk to them all the time. Like, hey, how's it going? So I get to build something with them, which is great joy for me. It's always been a part of my career. And then we get to make the industry better. That is what this is about. It's about multiplying. And so the name became really simple for that.
So where did the idea come for Pouch?
So Pouch came out of a need actually, because we recognized that 60% of the premium in commercial auto, like local, was still being rated in very antiquated product.
Oh, okay. You saw a rating problem. Perfect. That's simple. And by the way, are you guys doing trucking or no trucking?
No, that's HDVI's game, and those guys are killing it. They're doing a great job.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
No, the guys at HDV, I watch from a distance, because I pay attention.
It's radioactive if you don't do it 100% perfectly. Okay, so we're going a little long today. I'm sorry,
Yeah.
I hope I'm not making you late.
No, we're good. We're good.
Perfect. I mean, I don't have an editor. I don't have a time limit. That's what I love about this medium. But I do want to have a little bit of the career conversation. Sure. You know, at the very beginning, before we started recording, I mentioned what I call the Abel Travis rule, and how quite clearly, like you qualify, like you are the insurance person at Pouch, right? So quite clearly, you guys have the insurance knowledge. You comply with the Abel Travis rule. So tell me about your career, and let's start with this, like because I've answered this question a million times myself, being from Costa Rica. How did a Venezuelan end up going into insurance in the U.S.?
Yeah, so it's actually a really interesting story. So when I first started working, I won a case competition where I was going to school at Virginia Tech. And part of the stuff that you won is that you got put in the short list where you had to interview for these jobs. And at the time, the Virginia Tech School of Business is the Pampling School of Business, and the Pamplings founded Georgia Pacific. And so that's right before the housing boom. And so I actually took a job in building products in retail. And I was very much like a national accounts rep, and I got promoted very quickly because I built my own digital call sheet. Like, you remember the Palm Pilots, and you'd be able to like take a picture with a camera.
This is Progressive.
No, this is before Progressive. That's not it. That's not in my LinkedIn. And like, that's right out of college. I worked for a company called Georgia Pacific.
Okay. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So
And so then after I did that for a while, there was a lot of money to be made. Like, I was making a ton of money because it was the housing boom. And then as the housing boom started, that Iraq war thing,
yep.
then and so I started to realize, like, I was more quantitative than I was. I was a late bloomer. Like, I was a professional athlete. I played tennis in college. Like, schooling wasn't my thing, not because I wasn't capable. It's just there was only so many hours in the day, right? And so as I shifted, I became more analytical. And so I went and got my MBA. I will be married.
But by the way, regardless of how distracted or busy you were with athletics, you very likely beat my 2.6 GPA in undergrad.
I think I did. I don't remember, but I think it's so. When I did that, I realized I was more quantitative. Like, when my job became my focus. And so then I went to get my MBA, and then I met this woman. So I applied for a job at Progressive. And I met this woman. Her name is Kate Terry. You might have heard of her. She's the founder of Surround Insurance. And I fell in love with her. I was like, oh my God, this lady's so cool. She was like a minute older than me. And I thought she was the coolest thing ever. And then I met this other guy. His name was Steve McKay. He co-founded Pouch. And so I came to this place and I found these people that were amazing. And I was like, oh, dude, I can come here and I can learn. And then there was all these other people I can tell you: Andy Dobson, Jen Walker, Michelle Kabilling, Stephanie Rittmeyer, all these people at Progressive who like literally make insurance hum. And that's a big company.
So hold on. Progressive is more than a giant call center?
Way more than a giant call center. Actually, this is the little Richmond office, right? So I was in Richmond, Virginia. And all these people literally brought me in and be like, hey, come here, we'll teach you insurance. And so all these names I just gave you, by the way, half of them are still at Progressive. Dobson's still there. He's been there for 30 years.
And I make fun of Progressive and Geico a little bit tongue in cheek.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Progressive is fantastic in personal lines underwriting and invented telematics in our industry like 20 years ago. Like, they've been doing telematics for a long time.
No, and what's interesting is that people think of it, but you have to remember their rating and claims are some of the best operations in the world. And so a lot of these people who are now my personal friends taught me about insurance, taught me how to think about insurance. And then this guy, Steve McKay, who's really smart, he was given this thing called My Rate that became Snapshot. And he said, hey, don't you have a life in retail? And I said, yeah, we got to send these things to people. Can you figure it out? And so that's how I got started into insurance. But very early on, I understood that I needed to know the rules of insurance, but I was very attracted to the technical piece. And so after we did that, I went to commercial auto, worked with this amazing woman named Karnina Szymanski, which is now a Bold Penguin. And Karnina and I built and helped with what is now known as Commercial Advantage at Progressive. Then after that, Steve was like, hey, let's go build a company. Not a clue what that meant, but we built Drive Factor. And, you know, that became a telematics provider for the industry. We helped companies like Direct General and Elephant build telematics products.
So sold to CCC.
Correct. And then after that, I was like, I should run an insurance company. So Mr. Russell, and at the time said, hey, Gloria, you know, come and run a product department. So I ran product, which included, you know, both product development and product management.
So what is Acceptance? I'm not familiar with
Acceptance. Is a super regional carrier. They're in maybe 24 states now.
Auto only?
Auto, no, they might do renters now as well.
Okay.
They've evolved.
Is it specialty auto or
non-standard auto, primarily based out of Nashville, Tennessee.
Also, so you ran products for a non-standard auto company. That's and
I learned
tough business.
Oh, and I learned so much. And
no kidding.
Joe Crable, Laura Crable, like all these people taught me so much about non-standard auto.
Yeah, and non-standard, they'll strip you naked if you like. You can very easily.
And so that's why, like, startup is not that scary to me. Startup is not scary at all.
Okay.
And so we did that. I did that, and then, you know, there's this guy named Neil, and he said, "Hey, Gloria, come build this thing called Lightspeed." And I was like, "What?" Neil,
the president of Verisk.
That's right, because I was complaining. At the time, he was the head. I think he was the head of he's since been many times promoted.
How did you connect with Neil? How did you?
I think I was complaining, and I got in front of him somehow.
Oh, okay. So you were using the product, complaining, ended up in front of the guy who later ended up being president of Verisk.
And I said, like, look, like what I need your data to do is these things. And so we got together as a team, and we built this thing that everybody now knows.
Neil Spector. I couldn't think of his last name. I have not met him, but I've heard of him.
And then since, like, Daka Chase took over that group, and he's also a phenomenal human being. And so I did that for a little bit. And then USA was like, hey, we want to modernize our auto product. And I was like, oh, that sounds really cool.
So USAA was your client at Verisk.
That's right.
Okay.
And I remember when I went to interview, they're like, why are you here? Do we have a meeting?
But by the way, you haven't talked about geography at all after you moved out of Venezuela. So
I went to school in Virginia.
Mm-hmm.
Then I stayed in Virginia for a little while. That's how I started at Progressive.
Okay.
Then I went to Cleveland.
Cleveland for
Cleveland for Progressive.
For Progressive. Oh, okay. Home office.
Yeah. Then I went back to Virginia for Drive Factor.
Mm-hmm.
Then from Virginia, I went to Tennessee to run First Acceptance.
Okay.
Then from Tennessee, I went to San Antonio for USA.
So Tennessee, Nashville, or
Nashville?
Oh, okay.
Non-standard capital.
Okay.
Then I went to San Antonio.
So hold on, you never went to New Jersey for Verisk?
No, they let me work from home.
Oh, okay, perfect. And so then you moved to San Antonio for USAA. Okay. I almost feel silly asking about geography because a traditional insurance career was such that you had to move a bunch of times, and I predict that that's just not the case going forward in the remote world.
That wasn't the case. Like, really great talent at Progressive was work from home. Okay. I remember, this amazing product leader. His name is Jonathan Klein. He's now at Safe Auto. And Jonathan Klein was the Texas product manager for Progressive, and he was in Austin. He was always in Austin. Everybody knew he was in Austin.
I felt almost silly asking the question. Some insurance nerd is going to be watching this 10 years from now, and they're just starting the insurance career, and they're going to be like, what does it matter where she lived?
So for my job, it actually, because I do the hybrid of technology and experience delivery, like, I take insurance into the market. I do need that engagement model a little bit more. But now with modern technology, like, we didn't have video as we do now.
Oh, it's the video piece for the kids out there, for the Gen Zers out there. when just a few years ago at Nationwide, in order to do video conference, it was a big deal.
You had to go to one room.
Exactly.
You had to go to the one room that had the camera.
And you had to have a video bridge number, and it was probably expensive. And like those bridge numbers were like gold. Like we traded them like horses.
Welcome to the conference center.
Yeah, exactly. And now it's like Zoom is our basic communication tool, right? Or whatever tool, Teams or whatever. So you go to USAA because they're like, hey, we got this cool thing, right? They were your client, and they're like, hey, why don't you come and run this for us?
And the opportunity was to be part of a larger team because it's the size of a company to do new products. And then the focus became the telematics product that I think now is called Safe Driver. I can't remember what they call it, but it's their telematics product, which is mobile based, which helps the membership save a lot of money, and it's become quite valuable to them now in the pandemic, obviously. Okay. And they've grown it quite a bit.
So you spent a year in the country's largest office building, which is super cool.
Actually, I was not there.
Oh,
I was in the other building where they were doing transitions, and so there was a building right behind La Cantera Mall.
Okay.
Yeah, so I actually didn't have to go to home office.
Okay, but you did move to San Antonio.
Yeah, we did move to San Antonio. Lived in Hill Country, loved everything about it.
Okay, so Solera is interesting. Like they've been around for a long time.
Oh no, because then I got mad about claims. So here's how it goes, right?
Okay.
Then I was like, why is claims broken? Why can I not use telematics data in claims? What is happening here? Like, this is so silly, because the next frontier was to use telematics data to drive claims value. And so I got to meet this gentleman by the name of Ramon Suarez, who's a Mexican leader, and they were trying to deliver a digital transformation, and they were struggling a little bit with the X's and O's. Like, it was hard. And I had never led a full-fledged transformation from a technology perspective. Like, this is a software company. And I said, let me try. And so we did it. We delivered something they had been trying for 7 years. In about 9 months, which was a transformation coming out of ActiveX and delivering new software in a digital way that would be compliant with Chrome. So it's getting off old technology.
Hold on. Microsoft ActiveX was still being used by somebody in 2018?
Because
only in insurance.
Only in insurance. That's right.
Was the front end built in Flash?
Almost. It's so true. And like, how old we are because we even know what that is, right?
And it ran on an AS400 COBOL. Okay, ActiveX. Okay,
Yeah, no, so that did happen. And so it was an opportunity for me to do, like, I got the bug of agile delivery, not development, but delivery. Yep. And this was an opportunity for me to take that to the next level. And we did. And it was an exciting time for me. I had diversified teams. I had teams that were supporting us in Madrid. We had teams in the country of Georgia. We had teams in Mexico. We had teams here in Texas and teams in Salt Lake City. So it's really valuable to me to kind of manage in a global way and then also deliver software. Like, it takes a whole nother level of rigor that you just don't have in insurance. I did some of that when I was at Verisk, but it was different, right? It was still within the context of an insurance organization. This is still a software company that deliver in the collision repair sector. And it happens to be servicing an insurance company. So we spend a lot of time working the workflows of what an appraiser did, how you had the handovers, making sure that you had efficiency, deploying virtual intelligence where it made sense, enabling automation in the estimate. So I spent a lot of time in the claim space, which up to that point, I was very much just knocking on somebody's door and going, why are you blowing up my loss ratio? Because I was on the product side. And now I became part of the claim side. It was very valuable for me. And so after that, Steve is like, hey, let's go fix commercial. And I think the theme of the story has been, there's something that needs fixing, And every opportunity I've seen it as like, how do I learn that part of the business? I think somebody gave me one of the best compliments last week, which is you really know insurance from pre-purchase to like literally salvage. And I like that. I like it because I see through the eyes of the customer what we are trying to fix. And so I've always been a huge product advocate. So that for me has been really my demarcation. That has been what I go after. And so when the problem has come, I have gone and fixed it. And then very fantastic leaders have believed in my ability to do that. And some really amazing teams have decided to come along. And that's how I got here.
So when you were describing the compliment, you really get insurance. Part of me wanted to ask the indiscreet question and say, so after after Pouch has an exit, are you ready to come be a CEO at a traditional carrier? But then it hit me.
So here's why I think that's problematic
you?
For someone like me. Here's the 3 things that I am not good at. And many founders may not be good at admitting, but I'll admit it. I am incredibly more focused in solving the problem. And that more often does not allow for the time that is necessary for an organization to nestle its organizational change. And as much as that we like to create the space and to say that we're going to have an innovation hub, that creates friction that is unnecessary. So for example, how I dealt with Pouch operating differently is structurally different. We're organized as engineering teams. And then the insurance person works within that structure. We have product owners and scrum masters, and we look like a software firm. But the insurance expert still has a very strong seat within the team and enables the technologies people to operate. I couldn't do that in an insurance company. Those roles don't even exist. And even if I try to create the transformational change somewhere between this chief human resource officer, the current owner of the P&L, and the CTO, somebody's going to take a hit on me. and they should, because what I'm asking for as a leader would be quite a disruptive thing. And if you think about it, the organizations who did this very well in the 90s and 2000s, like GE, did it through destruction and reformation. And companies like Coke Industries today do it with what they call creative destruction. Notice how the word destruction and reformation is used in both. And so I just don't think that that is something that is fitting for someone like me, because I'm way more excited about solving the problem. When I'm excited about organizations, I don't have the energy to get excited about the problem. And so I think that's the delta. I'm very passionate about the people I work with. And so I end up not being as professionally satisfied with not solving the problem. So I end up working 17 hours a day and nobody's happy. And so it's being just a terrible tension. And so I'm like, I can fix problems and work in small teams with alignment much more efficiently. That's one of them. The second piece is how fast I like to move. I built an insurance company in 6 months. And that is just like par for the course for me. And so I don't think that corporate America has the alignment to be able to do that.
Especially not in insurance.
Right?
So Gloria, so what you're saying is 3 years from now, when Jacobson gets hired to find the perfect new CEO for the Hartford, you won't take our.
I don't think I'm the girl. I really don't think I'm the girl.
A 100-year-old company.
And here's the thing: there is a great excitement from leaders and boards when they see someone with my dynamic personality.
Oh my God! Yeah, my executive search team at Jacobson they want to clone you. Like because we could sell the crap out of you.
Like you read it on my LinkedIn, like people are always commenting how I'm like the Energizer Bunny.
Yeah,
right?
we could sell the crap out of you in executive search.
But the problem is that my ability to operate and create gets hindered in certain environments. And that's the third piece of why it's important for me to be open about this. I'm not the only person out there like this. There is leaders currently struggling with little Glorias in their organizations. They're talented, they work hard, but they don't fit.
And they're hard to manage. Very hard to manage.
And so it's complicated because you have someone who has a great heart and they manage well and their teams are well, but they don't have the fit. They don't belong in a box. And so when you talk to me about career, what I want people to take out of this conversation is that there's things that I always did. I always learned at every job that I was at. I always left it better than when I found it. I also left something behind. There's a product that I can go back to and say, I built that. Okay. And there's also the people. I always go back to the people I worked with. Every job I've ever had, my peers, my teammates, my team members, everyone is still connected. And that's because we engage together. And so that's what work is for me, because it's not work. That's another thing people have to realize. I'm wired like this. I get up in the morning at 4:30 and I just like to do what I do. I like thinking about what the qual is going to wear, and I like thinking about what factor I'm going to use for a business class. Like I do, it all comes with. And so me being transparent and talking about it, it's letting someone out there know, oh, it's okay. It is a path less traveled. And you do have to work really hard and learn a ton. I couldn't tell you how many people taught me things, which is something, again, I don't think people are open about. I'm very open about the fact that there's a list of at least 100 people who invested heavily on me that I can just rattle off to you right now, including Steve McKay. My very first interview at Progressive, Kay Terry and Steve McKay, same people I talk to every day today. She's a founder, she's a phenomenal leader, and she is changing the industry. And the other guy has believed in me so much, I don't even know where to start. But they're still a part of my life. And we have found a way to operate efficiently. So that's what I want people to take out of it. Yes, I worked hard. Yes, I was smart. Yes, I had a different background. Yes, I was given amazing opportunities. But I also kept my charter. And my charter was go make it better.
Quite simply, mic drop. I can't do better than that. It's been fantastic to have you on. I look forward to see Pouch blow it out of the water, and Mltply blow it out of the water.
And Mltply is a labor of love for me, and I'm so excited for all the founders that are sitting there going, "Does she mean it? Come on and test me. Test me and find out if I mean it. Ask me, Gloria, prove to me that this is about creating value. Show me how I'm supposed to give you my gift and you are going to help me get it out there." Because I think that's what this is about. People deserve the right to have an environment to be successful as entrepreneurs. And it shouldn't be, what happens if it wasn't 1 in a million? What happens if we make it just better and viable? And we do it for a select group of people who are very capable and very passionate about what we do. Again, we're a finite group. You know, we're not doing big software. We're not Silicon Valley. We're insurance nerds. And we have a few things that we all need to have: contracts, forms, rating, payments, all that good stuff. But then the good ideas can shine because everything else is taken care of. So let's go test stuff. Let's go put it out to market. Let's make a difference. And let's see how this industry finally moves along to the next frontier. We've done a lot as an industry in the 20 years. I've been in it for 15, but I feel like the next 5 could be phenomenal and we can move it 30 years ahead. I mean, wouldn't it be nice not to have to call when you have a loss and to be told, here's when your vehicle will be ready, and to also be told, like, here's the routes you need to take when you leave to be safer for your family? Wouldn't it be great to be told that the movement that you do in your job might be creating additional risk because the app tells you so? All of these things are there. They're just right there. We just need to get them out. I think you just like the shirt. It's the Poochie that's getting you there. It's the Poochie shirt. See, I always wear fancy tops so people get really excited.
Thank you very much for joining me today. Speechless. What one of my favorite episodes ever.
I love the fact that you're embracing my enthusiasm, and this is just Latino to Latino. So everybody just knows this is what happens when Latinos get together. This is why we hang out so much. We hang out with each other. This is what happens when we get together.
Lots of energy for sure. Look forward to seeing you at ITC.
I'm super excited to see everybody, and I'm super excited to hear the stories. Look for Mltply's website to come out here very soon. There will be a section for people to submit their ideas and get to know more. I'm always available. I sleep well, but I got a lot of time, so like in the mornings I'm around. So if anybody has any questions, they can hit me up on LinkedIn.
When it goes live, I will definitely tag you on LinkedIn. And I'll include the website for both Pouch and for Mltply. So yeah, it should be easy to find you.
Yeah, and like I said, be looking for agents who have curiosity about things. Don't hesitate to reach out. Be looking for a 2.0 release coming soon, which makes the quote faster and better. And then in comes the package with the folks from Puerto Rico.
Thank you. Thank you for joining me today.
I'm really excited. Thank you, guys.